So did you ever wonder what Pacific Rim would be like if half the characters in it were drunk all the time? Well, Colossal solves that mystery, so let's get into it. So Colossal is a film by a guy called Nacho Vigalondo, who is a relatively new director. He's directed 2 other films before this. Colossal is his latest film. It stars Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, and Dan Stevens. And Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis are great at delivering comedically well-timed lines, as we've seen before. So Colossal really does rest on the fact that it's quite a wry and dark but well-timed comedy. So the idea behind Colossal is that Anne Hathaway goes out and drinks a bit too much, she doesn't have a job, and she's kicked out of her apartment by her boyfriend. So she moves home and she finds out that there is this playground nearby her, and at particular times when she walks into this playground, a giant monster appears in Seoul, in Korea. She works out that this monster is her. She is controlling this monster whenever it appears. She's quite shocked by it, and she gets that across really well. But as with anyone, when they find out that they can do something like this, it turns to some dicking around. And it's all fun and games until people in Seoul start getting devastated by this monster appearing and wrecking shop. But then they also find out that Jason Sudeikis, when he walks into the playground, controls a giant robot that appears. So there's a giant monster and a giant robot. So while these two are in a playground in the middle of somewhere in America, there's a giant monster and a giant robot fighting in the city of Seoul, across the other side of the world. And it's done really well. Nacho Vigalondo does a great job of showing the action that's happening in both places at the same time without cutting away too much and without using a massive budget for big scale effects. I kind of thought, how are they going to tread this line? Is it going to be a mixture of a comedy and Pacific Rim, and it's going to kind of cut between the two? But it doesn't. It actually shows the action in both parts really well, and what the characters are doing that influences what's happening with the giant monster and the giant robot. And it's set against this backdrop of Anne Hathaway coming to terms with the state of her life and trying to make changes, and other people that might be bad influences on her as a person, and what she's trying to do to change that. And it kind of intercuts between the two of them really well. And while you don't sympathise with her character at the start, you do begin to sympathise with her more and more throughout the film, which I quite like. It's not a character that you instantly like, it's a character that you grow to like. And likewise with Dan Stevens and Jason Sudeikis, not everything about their characters is revealed like right at the start, so you understand their character straight away. It's all let out slowly throughout the film, and the payoff does come right at the end. There are some brilliantly comedically timed moments in this film where you're not quite sure what certain characters are going to do until they do them, and then that's the comedic payoff. So Colossal does kind of tread the line of being a bit of a thriller and a bit of a comedy and a bit of an action. It's got little bits all in there. So it's a pretty well-rounded film. It's fresh, it's original, it's funny, and it's got a really good cast in it. It's not the most amazingly mind-blowing film out there, but it does have to be commended on how original this concept is. And I really liked that while watching it. I felt like I'd watched something that hadn't really been touched on before. So at the end of the day, Colossal was a great original film. If you're looking for something different from the norm to watch, go and see Colossal. I'm gonna rate it 3.5 out of 5. I think it deserves a lot more word of mouth than it's currently getting. I think more people should go and see this film. So go ahead, check it out. If you've already checked it out, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you liked what you've seen here and you want to see some more, click subscribe to see some more, and some video links in down here. Just down here, there you are. As always, you can check out my written review on letterboxd.com. I tend to go into a little bit more detail on those. And until that point, I will see you next time.